Hello YouTubers, Alaska Prepper here. Happy Monday, ladies and gentlemen. I hope that you had a great weekend. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a lot of news to go over. I'll probably end up putting 2, maybe 3 videos out today. I'll try to keep them a little shorter, that way you can stay engaged throughout the whole video. But first, let me go ahead and tell you all that this afternoon at 3 p.m. Alaskan time, 7 p.m. Eastern time, I'm going to be live here on this channel with Gray Man Prepping, where we will be documenting the apocalypse, ladies and gentlemen. So hope to see you there. It's always a lot of fun when Gray and I get together every Monday at 3 p.m. Alaska time, 7 p.m. Eastern time. But first, we have to talk about this. Ladies and gentlemen, it is not your fault that you exhale CO2. It is not your fault that you eat meat, if you eat meat. It is not you, ladies and gentlemen. This climate change thing that's been going on for decades now has gone back and forth. And they've made a large portion of the population, not of just this nation, but of the earth, believe that it is the fault of human beings that the climate changes one way or another. Europe is in a deep freeze as our climate czar, John Kerry, warns of rampant global warming. When are people going to wake up that this has all been used against us, ladies and gentlemen? On the same day as the Biden administration's climate czar, John Kerry, warned of out-of-control global warming at the UN climate conference in Dubai, the entirety of Europe is experiencing an unprecedented deep freeze. Kerry called on the world to judge with our own eyes what science is telling us, and warned that the Arctic, the Antarctic, and the permafrost are in danger of melting. They talk, but they show no proof, and when proof is shown, they dismiss it. And I know this is just a meme, ladies and gentlemen, but it points out the hypocrisy of our own climate czar, who goes around the world in private jets that it doesn't belong to him. I understand that the private jet doesn't belong to him, but it belonged to his wife. And they've since gotten rid of it after he was called out. But after how many trips? One of those trips on a private jet, ladies and gentlemen, probably puts out, and I don't know for a fact, but I'm just saying probably puts out enough CO2 emissions to equal that of your entire year of driving your vehicle around, just to get back and forth to work. And at the climate conference in Dubai, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Kerry says, this year was the hottest year in human history that we've measured. Incredible. What a big lie, when all you have to do is look back a few 100,000 years. And AP, how can you look back that long? Look back millions of years and ask yourself a question. At a time when the climate was much hotter on this earth than it is today, were there any humans around driving SUV? I would say no. It's just common sense, ladies and gentlemen. They are attacking your common sense. Learn to think for yourself. And here this X from Mr. Ruiz says, Europe hasn't seen snow cover like this since 2010. Right now, 60% of Europe, ladies and gentlemen, is blanketed in snow. And the next thing that they're going to say is, well, it's a hot earth that is causing it to get cold. And look at this. It was so cold in Germany that a plane got stuck and frozen to the ground as it was taking off. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this is not what happened, okay? Like I said, you have to use your common sense. But someone that just goes along to get along, ladies and gentlemen, they would take the words that just came out of my mouth saying, look at this plane, look at the picture of this plane. It's so cold in Germany that it froze as it was taken off. Someone would take that literally and say, oh my goodness, really? No, ladies and gentlemen. Do your own research, use your common sense. When I saw this, I was like, oh my goodness, this must be a meme. But it's not a meme. It's a real picture of a real plane that got frozen to the tarmac in an airport. And what happened is that there was so much ice on top of the plane that the ice on the back of the plane was so much thicker than the ice in the front that it made the plane tip backwards. So that's what you're looking at right here. But where's all this global warming that they're talking about? They always talk about how hot it is during the summer, but you never see it on mainstream media. At least correct me if I'm wrong, because I don't really watch mainstream media. But you don't really see it on mainstream media, do you? Question during the winter of how cold it gets and how much snow there is and such. And here they go on to explain, okay, it really didn't freeze on the runway. It was tipped backwards after more than 40 centimeters, 16 inches of snow fell overnight Friday onto Saturday. So it had more than 16 inches of snow on top of it, and it made it clip back and, look like it was taking off. Pretty cool picture though, isn't it? Let me see. This says what Munich airport traffic looks like on a Saturday afternoon compared to today, as the airport has closed due to heavy snowfall. And look at this. Here is a regular day with all of the airplanes going in and out of it, and today there's none. Why? Because of global warming, ladies and gentlemen. That's why. And here's another one. With 44 centimeters left on the ground this morning, Munich, Germany has officially experienced its biggest December snowfall on record. And it all has to be blamed on global warming, ladies and gentlemen. And it goes on. And of course, go ahead and click on the link. It'll bring you here, and you can go ahead and check these tweets or X's for yourself. And look at this. This is the last one I'll go over here. Extraordinary November cold day in northmost Europe. A high temperature of negative 30.1 degrees Celsius at Sala, located in Finnish Lapland. Absolutely brutal cold, must be at or near record levels for this early official winter, has not yet started in the northern hemisphere. And these are the temperatures that they're experiencing throughout Europe, and winter has not even started in the northern hemisphere. And they're talking back in November, of course. And technically, winter hasn't even started even here in Alaska, because it's not December 21st, I believe it is, the winter solstice. Of course, winter has really started because we've got negative degree temperatures, we've got snow on the ground that's going to stay throughout the winter, etc., etc. But technically, it hasn't really started because we haven't experienced the winter solstice yet. But ladies and gentlemen, what I'm trying to point to you is this: use your own common sense. Think for yourself. Is there really global warming? Yes, there is. There is global warming. There's also global cooling. Take a look at all of the records that have been allocated throughout the decades that have several studies of why it is that the climate gets hotter and cooler. And it's not because of you. It's not human beings that are making this happen. And of course, you're going to have those, like I stated earlier, that are going to say, and try to say it eloquently, ladies and gentlemen, that global warming is causing global cooling. And they're going to go to something like this. Let me read it for you. Deniers are going crazy at cold in Europe, saying global warming does not exist. And they say that the reality is global warming has weakened the polar vortex, which can create a weak jet stream pattern, unlocking cold air normally confined to the Arctic, which can now escape from polar regions into the US and Europe. So what they're saying is that global warming is creating global cooling. Ladies and gentlemen, it's all a cycle. Maybe global warming is creating global cooling, but the fact is that it's not you that's creating global warming. I'm not going to go over this entire article, just a very small piece of it. But if you're not subscribed to the Epoch Times, they actually have like a online newspaper that you can subscribe to for like $1 a month. I'm not affiliated with them or sponsored by them in any way. I just think that they put out very, very good, unbiased news. And it says, good news about climate change. I would say that you should come and read this article because it has a lot of good stuff. But I just wanted to share one small part with you. There is growing evidence that emissions from tailpipes and smokestacks, in other words, the burning of fossil fuels, may not be a problem after all in the quest to control climate change. It turns out that these emissions have little to no effect on global warming. How is this so? Well, if you want to find out, come on, take a look at this article. I will leave the link to it on a pinned comment, ladies and gentlemen. Again, it is not you, ladies and gentlemen, and it is not CO2. CO2 makes up 0.04% of all of the gases in the atmosphere. Why do you think that in the last couple of years they've started to attack nitrogen? Because nitrogen makes up like 75 or 76% of the gases in the atmosphere. And they probably think, well, that's probably a more plausible thing that they can believe if it makes up such a large part of the gases in the atmosphere. But in the end, they will make you believe that it is your fault, and that in order for us to fix this, that they have to control you more so today than they did yesterday, when in fact there's absolutely nothing that they can do about it. It's the earth, it's the sun, it's space, and it's out of our control. It's a cycle. Have a great rest of your day. I'll be putting out another 1 or 2 videos later on today because we have so much news to go over. And remember that at 3 p.m. Alaska time today, 7 p.m. Eastern time, we will be going live with Gray Man Prepping on this channel. God bless every one of you. Have a great day, ladies and gentlemen. God bless America. I'm Alaska Prepper. I'm out.